I was just wondering if we'd be successful pulling you out of retirement, because we're short a couple of
Chip will
commissioners.
be
Chip
there.
will be there.
Oh, great. All right, we're down to Miranda.
Okay.
The drama continues.
So, Jen, are you gonna share what's on the screen with the Zoom?
I am right now.
Oh, good, great.
Yeah, so I think, oops, got it, yeah.
So that-
Michael-
okay, perfect.
Michael's live streaming now. This is what they see.
This guy is this famous copywriter, Jan, that's taken over tech support.
Tech support is a good aid. You realize how all encompassing this position would be.
Yeah,
She's brought it to another level.
yeah, I really have.
Really,
Yeah.
I really.
that's absolutely true. This is another level. I love the owl. He's quite handsome.
Before we vote, if we vote on 449,
Yeah,
did you want me to do, or maybe Chip will display his revised? That was the application.
yeah, there is, it's,
Yeah, they had to come in with the windows. and
Yes,
stuff.
and he sent, Phil, he
it's,
sent,
I just got it this morning
yeah,
from, Walter.
The solar panel, we
no. Do you want me to mute?
we took the solar panels out when you voted for this the other.
Yeah.
They are now back in according to Walter, but it's.
Paul,
I don't think
there,
I
can you hear,
Well-
can you?
Yes. I'm just gonna butt in and say, don't worry about the solar panels if that's an issue.
We don't want to slow you down.
That's okay.
Progress is important.
You know, the March meetings are always like this, they're always like this transitional time and pre-mud season, you know. the whole thing.
Who's there to be where the Ides of March?
Yeah, that's what this is what they were talking
Afraid
about.
of getting stabbed, yes.
Brush out your Shakespeare, man.
It's exciting.
At two,
So.
Philip.
We could just be here as a permanent demo. So you had to come up from all the way down south.
Did.
And where were you?
No, right.
Dutchess County.
So, he's got a touch of the dramatic.
You do have a bit of a ride back drawl.
Paul, we're waiting for a forum in person.
Okay.
Paul, you might have to run over.
Where are you? Don't say. It's confidential. You're being broadcast.
For me,
Really?
It's Chip, you were close.
It is. It is.
All right, Chip, we're still one down.
You've not officially resigned yet, right? We can use you to fill quorum.
Exactly.
Did you skip the COVID?
We did.
Excellent. Oh, yeah, we just, glad to hear it.
We
Okay.
dodged that one.
You dodged one.
Oh, my. All right, it all comes down to Miranda, folks.
I'll call that
I'm sorry, I missed your call. I tried to connect, but it didn't connect.
I understand that you're here, which is fantastic. We've got 3 away today. Jeremy, John, and Paul.
You know, I hate say, I think that our rules say that if you miss more than one meeting of the year, you're,
Subject to fatal injury.
yeah, something like that, isn't it?
No, yeah, no, there's nothing very.
It's pretty severe.
How do you, no, it's 1 unexcused. Or 2 unexcused, or something. And everybody gets excused, people have stuff to do.
Oh, I see.
But come on, folks. This is not what we dream of.
So we have,
This is very rare.
No, it's extremely rare. I don't think it's happened in a year.
Columbia Street and Union Street.
Mhm.
Okay. I poked my head outside, I see she's handling the road.
Columbia Street is
This is not the
here.
stuff dreams are made of. Yes, it's already here.
We should mute and go already.
Okay.
Sure. Just.
We can't hear anything.
You're on mute.
No sign of her.
I just unmuted,
Well-
Bill, do you want to explain what's happening?
Yeah, folks out there. We're waiting to have a quorum. Attendance physically. At the, we've got 3.
Someone's not. I don't know.
Please mute your phone.
Mute everybody.
Back down towards, I'm walking in from the front staircase. So here's, I love it. Curving. Oh, it's so sunny in here.
Oh, could everyone
No,
mute?
and that's so unusual for a period house.
So,
It's
Can you-
super hot.
You go to participants.
Can you please mute your phone, who's ever on the phone?
Yeah, participants. Below the whole, just click, click on
There's that little,
participants.
there's that
Double click.
other,
It's not the
little,
list.
yes. Such a great place to sit with a book, you know, like your mom in the sun, but it's not cold.
oh, it could be, yes, okay. I'll mute Paul. Okay, good, everyone's muted except I.
Do we have to have this happen?
We can't hear anything.
I can't hear anything either.
Open it up for a second.
Yeah, now.
Are we on?
Yeah.
We're just waiting for one more commissioner to have a quorum.
Okay. So can,
No, they,
Walter,
Walter put his thumbs up.
Walter put his thumbs up,
Okay.
or one thumb.
Thumb up.
Did you invite me to unmute?
No, whatever you want. Our attorney was concerned that I would say inappropriate things during the.
Impossible.
During the
No, it's extremely possible, Walter, during the waiting periods, that she was just trying to protect the commission.
Sorry, we didn't know if it was a technical glitch. We'll wait patiently. Sorry.
No, it's all right. We had three folks or two or three were zooming in, but it.
John is on Zoom. You have a quorum now.
No, the quorum does not, the Zoom participants do not count for a quorum.
Well, a quorum is 4, so you need 2 more people in the room.
Why don't we handle the quorum?
We have 4 in the room now. We have a quorum.
Give Miranda a second to.
Been great, congrats.
Okay, that was a close one. Sure. Meeting's called to order. First order of business is to review the draft minutes with minutes from the meeting of February 24th. Thank you, Gene.
So I'm sorry, should I unmute?
Yeah. I heard John. Paul, are you unmuted?
I'm here.
I'm unmuted now.
Are there any other commissioners on the? No problem. We have a quorum here. We're just trying to unmute everybody else.
I guess they can unmute themselves, right?
We can unmute ourselves and
Yes.
mute ourselves.
It's a roof replacement with coping and the flashing. If you remember, it was 3
Hi,
games.
sorry, I lost you down in the basement. Yeah. Okay, I mean, so far he's been looking good. Yeah. He's
going
going
okay?
up to the attic now. And he's done downstairs in the basement, so I have.
And that's Paul. John is asking, show you guys, I'm sorry, I don't know how to unmute him.
Okay, here it is now. I'm back, thank you. If we press mute, we can't unmute ourselves. So, I don't know why.
Okay.
All right. There's a motion to, there's no motion. We're looking at 118 North Fifth Street.
Right,
May I have
so
a motion to approve the C of A as prepared by the city attorney? Hugh,
Paul,
second?
Paul's up there. Oh, can he vote?
No.
Okay,
He can vote.
Yo, you can vote. All good, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. 118 North Fifth Street is approved. 449 Warren Street.
Second here, okay, yes, 449, and then, Walter, do you want to have me stop sharing the screen so you can share your revised application?
you can't hear you.
Can you just unmute yourself?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
We can,
Great. Yes, please. I'll share screen.
okay. All right, let me just move this over, okay.
Okay, just give me 1 second here. Okay, do you have my images on the screen?
Yes,
Great. All right, I'm going to expand it now as I've been taught to do. Great. Is that good enough?
It is.
Okay.
So Walter, this is all in response to comments by the commission in the previous meeting?
Yes, my understanding was you wanted some things explicitly stated on the drawings, and so we've done that, hopefully to your satisfaction. I'll just run through them really quickly.
Great.
So we've called out the materials on this page and indicated a difference between honed and flame finished granite for the two facades, and as discussed last week, slurry washed brick for this. And, you know, the existing brick would just be repointed and hopefully treated in a sympathetic historic manner. Same thing around. Sorry?
Walter, is this 449, Warren?
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Of course,
That's
it's not. Let's just.
Also, you need to unmute Paul. You need to unmute Paul, someone.
I'm so sorry.
Good. Then let's go back and vote on 449 Warren Street unless there was other stuff we do.
Okay, I'm so sorry. So here it is. There it is right there. Can you see that?
Paul has to unmute himself.
Strong to.
Yes, we can see that.
Apologies for my confusion. I hit the wrong button and just started talking. So I was asked, I think by Chip, to be a little bit more explicit about what we were proposing for the storefront and the windows. So I've included the actual sections and elevations of the Lincoln windows. And these are the windows that are there now. So they're actually a simulated divided light, you know, inside and outside bars with a little spacer between, and then the insulated glass. So these would be identical to the, you know, existing windows on the existing facade, except that the ones we are proposing will be double hung, and the other ones are inoperable. And then there's also a single panel of glass here, which would be treated more or less like the wood panels are, but it would be glass instead of wood. And then Chip had asked for some details just showing the different profiles. So we've done one through this pilaster here, which shows a condition where you have a soffit and then an indented panel that comes back out again, and then in and out. And then under this window is a plain panel, which is just a flat panel, and that's similar, identical actually to what's on the building now. So we just called out a little difference in these verticals where they have an identical panel as the other ones, but then there's an additional panel put in. And I think that's it. We have some skylight information if you want, just a generic acrylic skylight, but that's really it.
Did we also ask for fence detailing and
Pyramid.
and the pyramid?
Okay, I have the pyramid. Sorry, the fence is just a dog-eared fence. Hold on 1 second. Let me see if I might have to go out to share this again.
I guess he's eliminated have you eliminated the, photovoltaic solar panels in this application?
Yes, they were, I apologize for any confusion. They were taken out of the application last meeting, so yes, that would remain out. Are you seeing my screen now, the skylights?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so this is again, I use this term generic. This is just one that happens to have good performance criteria. But this is really what I'm talking about for the skylight. So it would be a thermally insulated double clear acrylic pyramid, basically.
And the plan calls for one of them on top of the atrium area.
Correct.
But do you have the specs on the plan? Because Craig wants to see the specs in order to give you a building permit, once this is approved.
Okay, yeah, sure. Generally for Craig, we just say a skylight and it meets the, the insulation requirements and the code requirements, which this does, but I'm happy to specify this exact skylight if that's what you're asking.
I think this is pointing out a disconnect that you have with what's required of the commission and what's required of Craig. What's required of Craig and what is required of the commission is really the same thing. Full set of construction documents that Craig can review and issue a building permit on, and a full set of construction documents that the commission can review that shows all of the details of the work to be done. So it's not one set of information that comes to the commission and one set of information that goes to Craig. The information needs to come to the commission, needs to be approved, and then it's presented to, then it's given to Craig for him to approve for the building permit and to implement. So I think that one of the discussions, it's very similar to the discussion we had about your other project on the corner of 4th and Warren, is that, as was mentioned at the last meeting, we need to have full detailing for everything, not just a shopping list of that gets created during a meeting. We discuss things in the meeting that need to be addressed, but that's not the shopping list of the only thing that we want that the commission needs to see, because implementation by Craig is an integral part of what the commission looks at and reviews.
So what's he missing? Or is it just doing this in slices, which?
Well, I think that the commission needs to refine and stand on, and that is, we need to see the full construction, the commission needs to see the full construction documents. Otherwise, Craig cannot implement what we review. And we with this storefront that's on Lower Warren Street right now. We need to have detailed, full construction documents that are to the full detailing necessary for Craig to issue a building permit and for the commission to review it.
I agree.
May I say one thing? May I say one thing, please? So, you mentioned 449 Warren Street. We've redesigned that majorly 4 times at the more or less request and insistence of the commission and the public. So I thought what we were doing was designing it or getting an agreed to design, and then the commission would tell us where they need additional information, which we've been trying to supply. So if I've misunderstood the process, but if we'd done construction drawings for the first thing we'd submitted for 449, I would be very upset right now. So I apologize if I misunderstood this process. This is a simple, generic skylight that meets code. I picked this one out of a catalog. I would like to specify this exact skylight now. And I have a dog-eared fence, but I'm going to get you a specific dog-eared fence around the enclosure. So I'm sorry, I'm very confused where I'm supposed to be designing a general thing that pleases the city and the HPC. And after we get that approved, my understanding is we go into construction documents. That is just how I understand it. So I'm not being argumentative. I just think if we have to go into construction documents before this commission, it's going to be a lot of coming back and asking for stuff and getting more insistent. I don't know what else to say.
I think we can make it work, Walter. We do, I don't know, about 70 of these a year. For whatever reason, this project comes in slices, which kind of throws us off our beat. As an addendum to what Chip said, Craig is the first process, and he's the last process. He's the beginning and the end. Let me ask Craig, before we assume what he needs, he doesn't need. Craig, are you good with where we are? I think you were good with where we are to date. Are you good with the skylight or the fence as being presented?
Yes, let me clarify a few things and make this correction so everybody understands the right procedure. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yes, very
Yes.
good.
Okay. An applicant submits the plans for the project that the commission is reviewing.
Baldwin and Sons is just pulled up.
Does not require full sets of construction documents. Full sets of construction documents include interior renovations and things of that nature, which is not the preview of this commission. So whatever is being reviewed, such as the exterior of the property, that's the plans and the detail information that you need. That's what we requested as per our code from any applicant. All right, so far what has been submitted, it meets the requirements of the code as far as like the skylight, things of that nature. If for whatever reason, the interior documents make a change due to your approval, then they would have to come back for that amendment. That's the procedure. There's no need for anybody to do a full set of interior construction documents if the exterior plan doesn't get approved. That's the procedure. So right now, what has been submitted has been reviewed by us and it's in an approval status based on whatever else needs approval.
Craig,
I think there's a bigger discussion. So when a big project comes in like that, that's where you look at the big picture, bird's eye plan, and there's no sense in getting down to, you know, the fixture of the light until you have agreement on size and massing. And that's what this, you know, commission has been doing on the big projects. But on the little projects like this, I think what the commission is looking for are the actual specified details, because they don't want to say typical fixture and then you put in something else and we have no ability to enforce it. Or typical storefront window, something else goes in and now it's not enforceable. So when it comes time to actually grant the C of A, that is when those detailed specifications for the exterior elements only are needed.
correct.
So I think we have a window, a skylight, and a dog-eared fence, and we've already submitted a drawing of the fence. So I don't know if that's not enough information. I'll just give you some more stuff.
Walter, is this the
I
skylight?
have to,
And whoever's on the phone, please mute.
somewhere out that way,
Skylight.
out that way, a little ways out there. Okay, good.
I'm so sorry. Someone's speaking. I can't hear you, Paul. I mean, I can't hear you.
Okay.
Could
How
you
about
say it
now?
again? Say it again.
No, it was not.
Go
Bill,
ahead.
just repeat.
Sorry, let me just go forward. What we're looking at are the specs on the skylight.
So it would be a frost-free commercial pyramid curved mount skylight.
More specifically, it's that skylight. Agreed?
Yes. Please,
Okay.
which
Can we look
is
at the fence?
that one right there.
I got it. In my opinion, you fulfilled your duty on the skylight. What about the fence?
Okay, I have to admit, I let you down on the fence because I don't have a dog-eared fence detail, but I specified dog-eared fence, and that's what we used on the house at Third and Union Street. It is the most generic stockade type fence, but it has a flat rather than a pointed thing. Again, it's just a generic fence enclosure. I'm not being difficult. I certainly will get you a spec on it, but it's just, when you go to Home Depot, you can either get a stockade picket or a dog-eared fence.
And it'll be wood?
Yes. And it will be unpainted wood.
If it's generic, then it's available for communication.
Yeah.
You
So-
could just Google it.
So I,
Where is
Home
the-
Depot,
you know, I
so-
think
I'm gonna send it to you. I promise I'll do that right now.
Okay,
We can make it a condition of the C of A that, they have a dog-eared unpainted wood fence. And then he provides the detail, but
I'd rather get this done. Why don't we pause on this, go on to 228, and when Walter's able to send it, we'll come back and take a look at the trends.
Great. I'm gonna
But I
send
think
it.
Victoria very well, that the issue is we need to know exactly what it is that we're approving.
No question.
So that we don't wind up with something like the lower Warren Street project.
Correct. Understood. Okay, let's take a look at 228.
Walter, could you stop sharing?
So sorry, of course.
Thank you. Okay, 28. This is for these spindles. He presented some spindles.
Got it. Do you have the C of A on Victoria,
I do. Share it.
please?
Okay, this is 228.
Okay. So just hit the highlights. What do we got?
He really just presented some new spindles as I was trying to,
Good.
yeah.
May I have a motion to approve the C of A for 28, Alan? Miranda, you, all in favor? Approved. Let's go back to Walter.
Walter, if you would like to show us your
Dog-eared
dog-eared
fence.
fence.
Okay, yes, wait, hold on 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Can you hear me?
yes.
Yeah.
Great, so let's see if I can screen share. Okay, this is super dangerous, but I'm going to share my mailbox. What I just sent. And what I just sent you was this. Can you see that?
It's a hand-drawn sketch.
Oh, no, sorry, I'm gonna stop and start again.
Okay.
Haha. There, can you see that?
Yes.
Great. So again, I'm super apologetic about this. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. I thought this was so generic. If I just said it, everybody knew what it was. This is a dog-eared fence. That is a 6 foot tall. They sell them at Home Depot. The reason we're suggesting this fence is because the fence is going to get a lot of abuse and it'll probably have to be replaced frequently. So this is just a panelized system I'd like to use. This is obviously the inside. What the owner would see. The outside is just the straight pickets. And again, I apologize. I think we've gotten 2 or 3 of these approved in my time in front of this board. So I thought this was an old friend.
Hey, Walter, that's a containment area for utilities, refuse and whatnot.
Mostly for her boxes for the cardboard, yeah.
I see. Okay, thank you. You did explain that in the last meeting. Got it?
Yes, it's now part of the application, so.
Okay,
We have a video.
that's baked in.
You guys are the best. Thank you for being so flexible.
We ain't done with it yet, Walter. There's more hell to pay. If we have a motion to approve the C of A as prepared by the city attorney with the specifications just presented on the skylight and the notorious billiards.
I make that motion.
And the window shade. Thank you.
I make that motion.
All of you. Thank you
Wait,
very much,
hold on.
Paul.
Can we just pull it up? I want to make sure we don't need to amend anything. I'm sorry, before we do all of.
Oh, let's get the C of A back up.
Yes.
Fair enough. Actually designated person before you.
Designated what?
A person.
I don't think the process is gonna be worth it.
So, this is 449.
So we had conditions on there. I, do you want to delete the conditions now that they've been provided? We should also add a condition that the solar, which is still on the, not included as part of this application.
Correct. Kill the solar.
So,
Well, I mean, he can come back, it's just Craig, I thought Craig hadn't reviewed it. So 3,
3, there is no 3.
right, can you add one?
Oh, I see.
That just say solar panels will be withdrawn from application. And then, is the board
Do you want
comfortable deleting 1 and 2? Now that he's provided it, or do you?
Oh, yeah, because he's provided detailed drawings for the windows,
Yes.
Yeah.
and the fencing, the glass windows, trim, fencing, glass panel, that's been provided. So the only condition of this now is the solar panels.
Yeah.
Being withdrawn.
Yeah.
Correct.
Just have to make sure we get the date of that submission. Walter, what's the date of the submission you made? Is it today or yesterday?
I thought it
I
was
think we
morning.
should just say withdrawn, because we don't know whether they're coming back or not.
Well, we'll.
Good.
Okay. Walter, do you want to unmute yourself?
It's not letting me. There, perfect. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes,
Sorry. So I'm so sorry. So the date, do you mean of the original application?
The original application looks like it was in January.
Yes.
1/21/20.
Do you need to
And then-
know the exact date?
I can pull the exact date. I want to know the date of the plans you just sent around or just presented.
Oh, that was today's date on the last sheet, and otherwise they're identical to the set that you had before. So that was the February set. So
Okay,
only the
so-
last sheet was added. We added a sheet 401 with details.
This addendum occurred this morning.
So if you talk, Jen, if you say this application dated, and we'll fill in that application as that one, my computer's slow. And then comma with addendum dated March. what's the date?
What date do you want me to date?
My computer is not loading. I think it's January 2023. We have to,
And the addendum is 10.
with the addendum dated March 10th. Yeah, the 21st. There we go.
Okay.
So then it should say for new storefront. I don't know, fence. And like. It's good.
What, we lose everybody?
We don't.
Anybody out there?
I can hear you, Craig.
I can
but
hear him.
I
I can hear
cannot
him.
I can't hear the room anymore.
I thought we lost everybody for a minute.
We had a motion by Miranda, seconded by you. We are waiting to have a return to quorum.
Okay, everyone's breaking up. I can't hear.
There's a motion by Miranda. It's been seconded by Hugh. I don't know what they said they're waiting for a quorum.
So I guess all in favor?
Maybe someone stepped out of the room.
Their video on. If everyone, we're having trouble with, here at this new city hall, maybe if everyone, disconnect their video.
Okay,
It's just too much for the internet.
got it. Makes sense.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Craig, would you like me to unmute you?
I'll say yes.
I'll vote for Craig, whether he likes it or not.
Craig.
Probably doesn't want to be unmuted, but do it.
Okay,
There's a motion on the table. To approve, we were unable to take a vote. As we temporarily didn't have a quorum in the room, we have a quorum in the room. May I have, ayes or hands or some signal to approve
Aye.
the motion.
Aye.
Aye.
Done.
okay.
Next, 410 Warren Street, a sign.
Yes,
Who's here for 410?
that's a Matthew, sign.
It is Matthew Sons.
Okay,
Do not see Matthew signs.
Is anyone here to speak for a sign at 410 Warren Street? Gone. 735 Columbia Street.
oh, okay, so. There's no one here, sorry, okay, stop share. Okay,
7:35 in the room.
yes. So 7:35, 7:30 on the
Who's here to speak?
My name is Matt Gruber. I'm here on behalf of ALO and the Little Debs organization, and then my associate Michaela is on, yes, upper right hand corner.
Terrific.
Michaela is the architect, and so this is our application. It's probably a lengthy process that we're about to embark on with multiple phases. And we definitely welcome your guidance as to how to phase this so that you feel comfortable. With that process, we want to work within that. And so how would you like to proceed today?
However you wish, but typically, one of you guys would take charge of the screen.
Okay,
And walk us through visually and audibly. Great. The project.
we have like a 17-page deck.
It is what it is.
Okay,
Do you want me to put it on the screen, or would Michaela want to share her screen?
I think Michaela can. take
Michaela,
it
you can
on.
unmute yourself.
You do it,
I can't. She has to unmute. I'm inviting her to unmute.
try it now.
Jan, try it again. Whatever you do, it puts it pops up pop-up and allows the participant to unmute. So I think it has to be initiated by you.
If you go to participants, it should pull up the list.
And maybe you can hover over her and maybe it's there. You like whatever you did for me and Paul, it worked.
Hover over her picture.
Yeah,
There's 3 dots.
Invitation.
here she is, okay. The 3 dots, and that's,
Now try, Michaela.
Michaela, can you unmute yourself? No, I don't know why, it just keeps coming up in. Sorry,
Can you just click on participants?
yes,
And there should be an ability to unmute on your list. There. Looks like.
is she?
She's done, not muted.
Michaela, are you there?
Michaela, no, she is muted.
This, the host is allowing participants. to
Right,
unmute
so-
Themselves.
I keep inviting, and it's.
Oh, yeah. Not be.
I'll show you what's happening.
As host, let's see if we can change the settings.
Yeah, where's your Zoom screen?
Pick the one you just stop using.
Oh.
I know, but, okay. so
Every day is the wrong
So
day.
you can right click now on her.
Just need to change to her.
And go to.
Where is she? Michaela?
So let's practice with them now.
That's where the stuff.
Okay.
You know, the bottom actually is.
There she is. One more, yeah.
No, this chat.
You put Jen on your
She's not
knees.
connected. Problem.
If I wheeze, otherwise just
Back to
do.
the new one. We changed this.
So that's going out to the universe.
You right click on the
So here's the stand, and what I try to do is unmute her now. You can have more. Get more.
Good for you, Brandon.
Right. It's okay.
That's wonderful.
Oh, good.
The more enthusiastic you can.
Usually I just go there.
Can you?
That's great.
It is great. It's great. Are you the meeting? Oh, I
Preventative-
don't have it now, I am.
Preventative maintenance.
Yes, Michael made me the meeting. What am I doing? It was fine, and then it just, okay. I just.
Gonna fall off.
Into the meeting itself and change the settings. We'll have to have Michael reset it.
Okay, wait, can you hear me?
I
Yes,
can hear you, but I don't know. if
yes.
I can hear you.
Woo, okay.
This could be an
Great.
audience participation meeting.
Okay. All right, I think we're back in business.
Okay, okay, let me get resituated here.
What?
If the system goes down, it defaults back to Michael. Can you
Right.
stop that?
Yeah, Michael, is there a way, so what's happening is the signal is a little weaker here, so when it goes down, it defaults back to you as host. Is there a way you can not have that happen? Right. Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you, so I'm gonna hang up now. Okay. Okay, Michaela, would you like to share your screen?
It says that I am sharing. Can you see it?
Yes,
No.
No.
I can.
Yeah,
Okay.
the audience can.
It's happening.
It's loading.
We've got a slow load here. We're actually behind everybody out in the world.
There we go.
There we go.
All right. I guess well, Matt and I will sort of tag team walking through this. I think Matt can sort of speak to the phases that we've come up with and introduce you to the kind of project at large. We are in the process of site plan review, and so we can kind of show you all the site plan that we're working on, get you familiar with the project at large. And then I can speak to some of the elevation drawings, some of the more architectural elements, and, you know, we'll ping pong back to talk a little bit about the history of the building and about the history of this type of building, which was a pure oil gas station. So this is, I mean, I'll I guess hand it over to Matt to do this introduction, if that sounds good.
Sure. So this is Columbia Street right here. This would be the front of TJ's Auto right now. This is the shed that's in back. This is a fence. This is open to the St. Charles parking lot. And then this is an alley right here. So the white spaces are the existing structure. And then the gray spaces are those additions that we're proposing to adopt this building to be a restaurant up front, an events space in back, and then a garden back here. So that is, and then as we talked about the phases, our phases are, we are going to focus on the front building first. That is going to be where the main kitchens are. That is where the restaurant is going to be. So that is phase one for us. Everything else is pretty much phase two. And so what we're looking to do with this board is to present to you in phases, phase one and phase two. Phase one is the front building. And then we would also tackle signage at a later date after we have like the physical building approved by you. So these are contemporary photographs, and then you can see how we're.
Oh, sorry, Matt. I think that there's a delay because it should be on the phasing slide where we break it down the different applications. So
Yeah,
maybe.
we're there.
Okay.
So you can kind of see how we're proposing phase one, application one is basically, we'd like to make some changes to the storefront. We have doors, windows, exterior painting. We need to do some repairs to the roof. We do have some additions, and then of course signage we would like to tackle after all of these things have been approved. And then phase two would be about the back. Does that sound?
Yes.
Appropriate?
Understood.
Great, next page, please. These are
Am I-
contemporary photographs.
So you're planning to use the existing buildings back from the street as the auto repair place is now?
Exactly, yeah.
My phone is real.
And we'll see in the elevations, there's only, the addition is there's, like Matt said, these two additions. One that's happening is if you're facing the building, it's on the right, sort of where you can see in this top left photo, sort of where that fence is, and it will be set back from the street. So you'll only sort of see, you know, a portion of it set back from the street, and the other addition won't be visible at all from the street because it's a connecting, it's sort of just filling in this little outdoor alley space in the back. So otherwise the building, you'll just sort of see it as you see it here. And we'll see that in the elevations.
These are street views.
I want to say hi to that cat.
Now
Matt,
we're
I think
going
you could
to-
just keep talking through this and then I'll jump to the elevations.
Okay, so the building history, built around 1935, is a pure oil station. And it was white with blue roof. It was made to look residential as a marketing tool by the Pure Oil company. Made to look residential so that this kind of establishment would be welcome in a residential community. At the advent of the automobile meant that people needed gas, but they didn't want a dumb gas station in their neighborhoods. And so this was one of the first times that architecture was marketing. And so, but it is helpful to know that it did start out white, sparkling white, as they say, and the blue roof was also one of Pure Oil's brand colors. Next slide, please.
While we're waiting, could you tell what kind of roof it was?
It was a shingle roof. So the roof that's there now is the roof that was there before.
What is it made out of?
Shingles. I don't know the type of wood, but it is wood shingles.
It's a wood.
It's a wood shingle. And other types of Pure Oil stations, they did do blue terracotta. Ours happened to be blue shingles. So this is from the 1960s. You can see down here how the building was white at one point, kind of the original coloring. You can also see that the storefront was a bit more residential looking. And so it is our hope to make strategic choices to take it back to that feeling, but not necessarily restore it to the original facade. We can go to page 8, please. So at some point,
Is it frozen?
Did it change?
no,
No, not yet.
there we go.
There you go.
In the 70s, when TJ bought it, he kept it white for a little bit. You can see a bit more of the facade here, how it was amended to be more straightforward, picture windows, squared off door. And then if we can go to the next slide, this is kind of where it then turns into, at some point in the 80s, or I'm guessing it's the 80s, the white went away and it turned into the version of what it is now, so to speak.
It's brown now.
It is brown. It is exposed brick on the facade, and then the sides are painted to kind of match. And then if we can go to,
Sorry, I was jumping back to the original, to the contemporary photos. Did we get there?
Yes.
yeah,
Okay, yeah, just wanting to point out that there's TJ really loved paint and there's a lot of painted things here. The only thing that is not painted, even though it was originally, is just the front facade of the brick. And the roof is painted, all the trim is painted, the sides of the building are painted, the back is painted, everything's painted except for sort of this front facade. So I'll jump forward to where we were. Oh, here.
page 10. So this is a bit of the history that I've kind of already alluded to. The first effective uses of architecture as marketing and as a branding device. It's the English cottage design with stylized storefront that blended into a lot of the residential neighborhoods. And as you can see, there have been many changes to our little service station over the course of the years. And what we would like to do is kind of take it back to this era. We could choose this moment in time to go back to, but then also look at it through the branding lens of Little Deb's that will be occupying it.
Yeah, I think that's a good, I'm gonna jump to the elevation, to the drawings, just because they're a little bit bigger on the screen for you and a little bit higher definition. But I think, like Matt said, I mean, we're really excited about this actual combination of typologies, this like commercial, more pseudo-industrial program with this mixing of domestic elements. We think that's incredibly interesting and would like to sort of do the same. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with Little Deb's. It's like 3-4 buildings over on Columbia, so right there. And Little Deb's is a really special place that has a big community around it. I think there's a feeling of home there for a lot of people, and so this combination of domesticity and a more commercial use is actually quite fitting for Little Deb's. And when we look into materials, when we talk about wood shingles, that's also quite interesting because Little Deb's, as it stands now, is also a shingled storefront. And so there's sort of already these elements of domestic materials and spaces used at the current Little Deb's on Columbia. So we want to kind of draw from these precedents, as well as draw from the existing character of Little Deb's, and they happen to actually work quite nicely together. So jumping over to the elevations, I will zoom in. This is sort of the plans that were submitted, and this is the site plan sheet that it is going through site plan approval now. I will zoom, it's the existing survey on the right and our proposed on, the existing survey on the left and our proposed on the right. So as Matt said, the white buildings are the existing TJ's Auto, the dark gray are the 2 additions. In the back, it's a warehouse. This will be phase 2, so not the concern of today's discussion, and then this sort of landscaped garden in between. And so this is the plan that was submitted. So if we go, I guess we don't really need to talk about the interior plan here, but as Matt said, it's a proposed restaurant and bar that in the front building, and that's what we'll be looking at today. So if we look at the drawn elevations, I'll zoom in here. We'll look at this in black and white first, just to get you familiar with the layout and the architectural elements, and then talk about colors, materials for a bit. So we're sort of keeping everything as is, with the exception of the front door, which we were trying to take back to that English cottage style and round it out again. And we'll look at reference photos for that. And this is the addition on the right that you will see from the street. It will have a pitched roof for drainage, also because there are no flat roofs in this project. There are many, many roofs that are kind of all cobbled together. And so we wanted to keep the element of a pitched roof. And here we're sort of using a sort of sawtooth style roof, which is interesting. It's a very commercially used type for roof, and cladding it in wood shingles, which is the more domestic building material. And so there are 3 garage doors that have been there since the beginning. They were never replaced as far as we understand it. But obviously we will need to bring those up to code in terms of insulation. And so right now our current thinking is to work with an insulated polycarbonate type storm window on the interior so that the exterior image stays the same of the original doors, and, you know, paint and restore the wood as necessary, but they're actually in pretty good shape. We just need to address it from a thermal perspective. Exterior lighting, this is something that was submitted as part of site plan approval with exact specifications for the fixtures. It's a gooseneck light that is going over basically the entire building, and we're trying to really use one main light and then supplement it with step lighting at the bottom of the building for pathways as required. And the 2 storefront windows that are there now, we would also like to preserve. We need to do a feasibility study. I think that they're just single pane glass. So again, we would need to look into either replacing the glass and keeping the opening as is and kind of just replacing in kind with a new specified window that meets code, or again, take the storm window approach because they're not operable. So that may be possible to do without replacing the glass. And the other addition on the front is the scalloped awning, which we also drew some inspiration from some of the historic photos for. They used to have these kind of curved scalloped awnings that we'd like to bring back to this project as well. So that is the front building. That is the front elevation from the street. If we look at the right side of the building and walk around it, that's the west side. So the front elevation is the north. And this is sort of how you get to the addition. It's sort of more of a service facade. It's where trash and recycling is. It's where the gas valve is. And it's going to be where the entrance to the addition is, but the addition is purely for back of house, dry storage, wine storage, staff entrance. So that's what you're seeing here, this new door. And where I'll just highlight the sort of new addition is this guy right here. And that is just going to be a wood shingle. You're seeing the front pitch of the facade. It's sloping down behind it back to where the original building is. Same gooseneck lighting all around. This new addition will have a single window and a new front door. And on the left side, actually, you know what this is? Oh yeah. Oh no, this is actually an existing window that's here, not a new window. So we would take the same approach as the front. We would either replace it in kind with the existing opening in the masonry, or put an interior storm window in because it's also not operable. So that is the side of the building on the west. If we go to the rear, it's a little bit tricky to show because where this dark gray area is, that's where the addition is going to attach to that building. But that, as Matt explained, is phase 2. So that's why it's sort of grayed out, not to be included. It's a hard thing. It's a hard building to show in flat elevations because there are so many roofs that are pitching together. It's kind of an interesting, quirky style. So we'll just talk through as best we can. But again, the addition is all the way on the left. Right now, this is all in the rear vinyl siding, except for this one small portion of concrete block. It's sort of a cobbling together of materials, and the vinyl siding is not in very good shape. So we would like to remove the vinyl siding, replace it with wood shingles, kind of continuing this language around the rear. All of the window openings that you're seeing, except for the one on the left, are existing window locations. And for these, because they're operable, we are going to call for new windows just to make sure that they're up to code and easy to operate. And then you have this wood shingle addition on the left. And we'll talk about painting in a second. I think this is the last page, right? And this is on the other short side of the building. If you're looking at the front and you walk around to the left, there's these 2 existing simulated light glass windows there now. They're painted over. And so we would like to remove the paint and restore them. Again, not operable. So we think that we can take an interior storm window approach here as well. And this is the only area that has this sort of CMU block that's painted right now. So we're just calling to repaint that. And on this side, we are proposing a new metal door for egress. It's not visible from the street, and I don't think it would be used quite often, but I believe we'll need it for egress purposes. So jumping back to some of the images, and anyone can also stop me at any time to ask questions and can go back to the drawings. But so this is the front. This is one of the, so as Matt said, the doors used to be rounded. I think the windows were rounded as well. And in the 80s or somewhere around that time, they took it to this kind of more conventional commercial square type. And we really found the historical doors charming, and we need to replace the front door anyway. So we're endeavoring to, I mean, if we can find it salvaged, that would be incredible. Otherwise, it would be a new wood door in this English cottage style with a glass, a sort of oval glass pane. And we would try to use this historic reference as the inspiration for that to match. And there's also these awnings that you see in multiple Pure Oil gas stations that we're also bringing back, and would like to put that over the entire front sort of entry area. These are the windows that you can see on the left. They're painted up, or painted over rather, and we would like to work with the contractor to restore those that you see in the elevation on the right. Doors, I guess we spoke to, the front door we spoke to, and the garage doors. So like I said, these are the original doors. They've since been painted over. I think that they were originally blue. And we really would like to keep them. I think that they have a lot of character to the building, and it's really wonderful that they've survived all of these years. So we would really like to keep them, and just need to work with the contractor to come up with an insulation strategy that meets code.
So you had mentioned 3 garage doors were original, but I see 4. Are you?
Oh, sorry, no, that's my mistake. 4. If I had said 3, that was a mistake. They're all original.
Okay.
One of them has this little door in it, but I don't think we would ever use it as a door. I think it would just sort of be almost like a decorative pane. It's really a very small door. So I'm not sure, maybe they used it, in the 30s. I don't know, but they would sort of just stay closed. So they all open through garage style.
But your intention would be for those garage doors to remain as fixed elements?
No, they would still be able to open. It's just that the door, let me see if I can zoom in here. All of the mechanics still work. So they still work as garage doors. There's a lever on the right side, and they go up and over the way that garage doors do, and they can sit up there. And we would just need to, if we do insulate them with an interior panel, look at the specifics of the mechanics. If there's room for an added insulated storm window on the inside, and if that still allows it to go up. It's also something that could be, I guess, removed in the summer, although then we would need to replace the glass panes so that they're insulated properly to code in the summer. But no, the intention would be for the garage doors to still be able to open in the summer to let fresh air in. Obviously not in the winter. Okay, so getting into colors, as Matt said, the original scheme of these stations was this sparkling white and blue roof, which we would like to bring back. We don't want to do it pure white, and we've been looking at historic color collections for some of these choices, and believe that there's some good matches here. And just to be said, these obviously will need to be tested on samples, also for us to be able to see, and we would like to review those painted samples with the commission and just to confirm the exact color matches. But these are all from the Benjamin Moore Historic Collection. The base of the building would be a very light white, not bright white, because I think that would be kind of stark in comparison to the surroundings and to the blue roof. So this is a little bit more muted. The color is called white chocolate. And then if I can sort of just step out to describe the general sort of aura of this color scheme. Right now, when Little Debs first opened, they had friends from the community come and do interior murals. And I think one exterior mural on the side of the building that was sort of this sunset ombre gradient. And it just became really a part of the restaurant and never got painted over or replaced. And we would and Halo, the owner of Little Debs, would really like to carry that through to this new space to speak to their kind of original design lineage. And this will carry around the back, but on the front, because it is a more historic facade and it is seen from the street, we want to limit that just to the doors as a sort of signaling of entry markers. On the back, this gradient will take on more of the facade, but here we're, preserving the existing brick, but painting over it the way that it was originally with the white. We'll have the new gooseneck fixtures that are also in this teal blue, which was submitted, and those specifications, I think you're in possession of those specifications, or at least definitely the planning board is. And so yes, using this gradient to identify the doors and bringing the roof back to a painted shingle. There's no repairs required on this roof. It's in excellent shape on the main roof, so it will just be painted. Same thing for the brick as well. The brick is in really good shape and doesn't look like it will need any repointing. So it's, again, just a paint job. Okay, so this is the back, which is all wood shingles, and this gradient will carry over to the back. You can see the original roof that's getting painted blue in the rear. And same, that white neutral, that sort of white chocolate color is going to wrap all of the existing brick. So everything that's painted brick now will remain painted brick, but with this new, returning it to this white and blue scheme. And then, limiting this gradient to take on areas of the facade only when it's not visible by the street. So it's not, too stark a disruption from the street. And this is facing what will be the phase 2 garden. So there would be sort of this own environment happening in the rear of the building.
If I'm understanding what you're saying, there are very few situations here where you need to introduce new materials. It sounds like
there are none. There's the replacement. The only new one is obviously the new additions. And everything that's a new addition is wood shingle. And metal roof, because there are existing, all the roofs in the rear are metal. It's only the main original roof that's shingle.
Thank you.
And so the addition on the left is wood shingle. I'll highlight here. This is new. This is the new addition, and this little filler piece is the new addition. And those are both wood shingle. This right now is vinyl siding that's not in very good shape. This as well. So our plan is to remove the vinyl siding and make it all wood shingle in the back so that it's uniform.
What kind of wood shingle?
In previous years, I've used cedar shingle, but the cost of cedar right now is quite high. So we may need to reassess that from a budget concern, but that would be the type of shingle, because of its durability for the exterior.
It's John Schobel. Could I ask a quick question?
Sure.
The addition that you've done, is there a view of this rear that we could compare it to really quickly? Because the addition
For the existing?
Yeah, existing.
Yeah, let me see, I think on this front page. It's going 5 feet back from the property line, just to give a sense of how far it's coming out. Okay, right, so on this bottom left. let me see if I can-
It's gonna stick out from there.
Yeah, so this door will be removed, this wall will be
Uh-huh.
demolished. And it will, you know,
Start there,
attach below the roof line
right?
at the lower angle and then pitch up. Like this.
My only comment on it, and this is, I think it'll end up being minor, is it doesn't have, you know, if you look at your proposed facade and the elevation drawing doesn't do it justice because that
Right.
is set back,
Right,
right? And you can't see the
Right.
massing. It just, it's a new mass without windows and seems unrelated to the front facade. Yet it's very clear why you did it. When I see the back facade, you're mirroring that other angled addition. So
exactly.
it does look, so my question is, that would be, and frankly, and I should have started out by saying, this is such an impressive presentation. I've been on the commission for 6 years. I've rarely seen the like in terms of the quality of this presentation. So thank you. But I would say that would be my only criticism of it, is that
The
it looks
window, the
no,
sort of,
it's like a windowless block with a right there, right?
yeah,
It's just like everything. If it was to be attached at the front of the building, I would make an argument that it doesn't look that appropriate, right? Like it's just this thing sticking out. But when you realize that there's, you know, 20
very
feet,
set back.
20 feet between the front of the building, and that it's much less problematic.
yeah.
What's
I
going to be in
see.
front of it, like parking or a garden or?
Yeah, it's just gonna be a landscape path. I mean, the thing is it's trash and recycling in front of it.
Okay,
So
there you
it's very set back and it really is the sort of service industry. It's where the gas valve is now.
Uh-huh.
And when we talk about food deliveries and you know, there is also going to be a buried grease trap on that side of the building.
Mhm.
So this will be the area where we will get
it was just my only comment, and I don't think unless the other commissioners disagree, now that I realize how far set back it is, it's not really, and how it relates to the rear facade, I don't think it's problematic.
Okay.
Would deliveries and so forth actually come from the south side?
We did the first one, do the second one.
No, I'll jump back to the site plan. There's delivery for phase 1, there's delivery for the restaurant, and then there's delivery for the event space, but we have, okay, so when we talk about large trucks, like very large trucks for, let's say tables, chairs for events, massive deliveries, that is coming through this easement on the right side of the lot. For smaller food deliveries, and that can go in on dollies, which is how Little Deb's receives their food now. The truck would just pull up in the parking. This is all just paved, can pull up there. And then there's this path that has a continuous 10-foot clearance, you know, to the delivery entrance in the back, like this. And the reason why we're doing that is because there's this entrance here. This is the main kitchen, and you really want, for deliveries, really unobstructed paths for the delivery dolly from the entrance of the building to where they're dropping the food. And when you see in the plan, there's this very clean kind of unobstructed path through this to where the walk-in refrigerator is. So we wanted to keep that, you know, as direct as possible, versus if you have delivery entrance more, let's say, I mean, this probably wouldn't happen, but in the front, there'd be a lot of like twists and turns to get back to the kitchen, if that makes sense.
Yes.
In this drawing that you're just drawing on right now, we're seeing the proposed addition on the left-hand side that we're just talking about.
Correct.
There are, what is the roof? There's a negative pitch roof going back toward the building.
Yes.
In your elevations, how does that flat roof and that pitched roof, how would that look on this roof plan? Basically, if we're considering this as a roof plan.
Sure. It's all pitched. There's no flat portion. So they're just, the pitches are following one another, if that makes sense. So they're two pitched roofs happening at the same exact angle, if that makes sense to you. So they're both pitching. There's no flat roof here. So it's all going. Well, it's going like this, I guess. It's not going to be totally flat. It will still have a 2% pitch for drainage, but it will be like this.
Okay, but you have two distinct pitches there. One is a very low slope pitch and one is
Yes.
the higher pitch.
Yes.
Where is that low? How does that relate to the existing building? In this- in the
It
roof
meets,
plan?
it meets just below the eave of the existing roof. Let me see if there's this. I think it's in elevations here. Right. So we're seeing this on the left here. Because this is quite low, we didn't want to keep where the underside of this roof is, would be nicer to gain a little bit of extra ceiling height as you can, if you can. Also, because there's a staff room in this new addition and just giving them a little bit more headspace will be nice. Also for drainage, that's why we wanted to use the pitch. And like John mentioned, we're mirroring the existing pitch from this existing element, sort of on the other side. So it starts up high here, it slopes down, and then it slopes, really shallowly to meet the existing underside of the existing eave.
Understood. However, as we're looking at this rear view of it, the wall of the addition is a single plane,
Yes.
correct? Okay. When we look at the front elevate, if you could show us the front elevation of that addition.
It's 2. Oops. Yeah. It's a bit hard to describe in flat. I mean, I feel like a 3D would almost be more helpful because it's 2 volumes. So the reason why you're seeing it as one plane in the back is because that's the larger volume. And the reason being, so I'll go back to the site plan very quickly, is that we have this, we have this 5-foot setback. There's no setback requirements here, but by New York State building code, it's really about the fire rating of your exterior wall. And so if you are over 5 feet from the property line, you don't have to have such a high fire rating, and which also makes it a cheaper exterior wall to build. There are less details to get approved, etc. So sort of for our purposes, we offset the boundary, the existing property line, 5 feet, and then are building within that confines, if that makes sense. So it's sort of stepping.
Yeah,
So
I think it's very useful to see this in this plan view. I just wonder that the sloped roof, that the higher slope roof is going to present a different kind of proportion to the street, because in the rear elevation that you're showing us, it starts up higher, goes back down. It'll be much less so in this front elevation. It would be very useful first of all, I think the addition is, the concept of an addition here is fine. And I understand that you need the 5-foot distance for fire separation. You also need it for passage because that's your primary path for delivery. That's understood. So now that you're drawing this elevation, where you need another vertical line in that drawing that would show the front wall or the back wall that's stepping out. It would be the front wall. In other words,
you wouldn't see it from the rear though. So in this, this is what
you just sketched the front. Use the sketch that you just made up top as your front elevation.
As the rear.
No, it's
you're saying
the front, exactly.
Yeah.
So if that sketch that you just erased was the front elevation, then where is the corner that's you have two corners that are 5 feet away,
Right,
Correct.
this line and this line.
correct? So
Right,
up
so
top, You'll
it's
have a
like
line
this.
there, correct? And so that higher pitched roof that you have is actually gonna be
Set back.
offset by the plan. And
Exactly,
I
it's set back.
It's important for the commission to understand that. I think that because of the low slope roof that you have is just below, it may only be 7 feet above grade.
It's,
As you have in the earlier photograph shown this, the side door going into the existing building. What I want to point out to the commission is that this addition is very much the scale of a fence. And it has much more of the appearance of a fence in terms of massing than a building, a room that has a roof on it, because you don't really see the roof. And so I think that as an architectural element, it's very much downplayed because it has the scale and the appearance of a fence. I think you might want to explore other finishes to that exterior, because on the front side, you have used some of the finishes of the historic building on this addition. And I think that's confusing with the existing building, because your concept of restoring and adaptively reusing the existing building is valid and super good. But as you see here, you painted that color of that addition. You painted the addition the same color as the body of the historic building.
right.
And I think that just confuses the architecture of what you're trying to accomplish here.
I see what you're saying.
The
Oh,
other
no,
thing
so
is-
just to
the other
point out the
thing is-
line, sorry, go ahead.
Yes, thank you for pointing that out. I see that now.
Okay.
Is there a dumpster in this location? On the
It's
right of the building?
Yes,
So.
it's in the
some-
plans
Yeah,
or the elevations rather.
yeah. I think that some consideration might be given to visually protecting that from the street. Even though this is, when we think about this building, it has a very unique visibility from Columbia because of the parking lot of the St. Charles. And so I think that this addition that you're proposing on this side will have some significant visibility. And I think it just needs to be understood by the commission. It's a little hard to understand it because, as you point out, a three-dimensional sketch of this would be much more informative than the plat that you have.
Sure.
And I think that, is there a fence now in between the St. Charles parking lot and this property?
There is, yeah. It's on the property line, not on the 5-foot setback.
Yeah, understood, but it's on the property line. What is, who owns that fence? Is that your fence or their fence?
It's their fence.
Okay, and so I think that, I just think that looking at this in a holistic way, particularly viewed as it can be viewed predominantly from Columbia, would be very useful for the commission to see more of a three-dimensional aspect of this because of the angle of the property line and the existing building. But I think your approach to the existing building, I love the historical work that you've done. I love the color work that you've done. I think you're restoring and maintaining many of the original features of this original building, and you are wonderfully integrating it into the marketing and the imagery of the user in a very, very positive way.
Thank you.
So I think that this addition is kind of the only really difficult part of this presentation to fully understand, and you might want to rethink it to make it even more background and
Sure.
less like the original building.
Sure. So if I could speak to that really quickly, we can definitely do a little 3D study and sort of submit that view to you. And look a little bit more at screening for the trash. Maybe we need to make our own fence. I don't know. I think I can, take some views, some more detailed shots of the fence that's there now. It's not in great condition. It's not in great condition, to be honest, but it's not our fence. So I'm not quite sure how to navigate that. The one thing I would say about this front elevation, and it's interesting that you picked up on this, because we went back and forth about the color of the addition. And there was one version where this was painted entirely in the Ansonia peach, so that it was kind of identified as a new element, but it actually ends up drawing more attention to it in a way, and kind of detracting from the historic facade, which is why we sort of reintroduced this gradient color scheme on the doors of the existing facade, and why there's a blue roof on the existing roof, to try to draw attention to that and away from the addition. And so the thinking behind having it be in this neutral color, even though it's the same one, is that it sort of does have the effect of drawing a little bit less attention to it. I also, now that I'm thinking about plantings, think it could be really nice. And even though there's trash there, I think we would still like to plant around the base of the addition to sort of further set it back. And the last thing I was going to say about that is, materially, they're different. So the reason why, we were thinking about, should the addition be brick to match the original, and ultimately decided not to do that, sort of also for that purpose, so that you could read through material what is new, because everything that's on the front facade is brick. So the shingle addition, I think, we're trying to walk this line between understanding it as a contemporary addition, but not drawing so much attention to that where it detracts from the presence of the primary facade. So that's sort of the thinking of using new materials, but same color. And I do sort of strongly, or, I believe that it does look better in the cream rather than the peach, just because of the vibrancy of that color, and detracting from the main facade, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think your assignment of the peach to the entrance and to the doors of the building makes perfect sense. I don't think peach is the right color for the addition, but I think the addition just needs further study, and it needs to be presented in a way that the commission can really understand the three-dimensional aspects of it. Okay. And I think one thing that you might look at doing would be a kind of a fence, a residential scaled fence and gate closer to the front elevation that would enclose all of that area, and visually protect it from the street, from the parking area. And actually, you're mentioning landscaping. I think that's a really critical part of making this a building which has suffered with just having a fully paved front yard, to generate some of that residential aspect of the pure oil concept. Think about the landscaping in the front parking area that would begin to introduce it more into an element of a residential landscaping design rather than a paved design, side property to side property.
Right. No, I definitely agree with that. We are doing this new garden where the sign is now. There's a planting bed there now, but it's very sad. It's a sad planting bed. So we're going to sort of, redo that landscape as this garden in the front that's right on the sidewalk of Columbia where the sign will be. And actually, I guess this should have a green hatch on it as well, now that I'm looking at it, because this has also plantings dividing the easement from the parking lot. For accessibility reasons, we want to keep 3 ADA spaces there, and also have the ability for the truck to drive up so that they can deliver food. So we don't want to, even though we would, I think, love to landscape the whole front, it's not practical in terms of the accessible parking spaces and the deliveries. So what we're doing is, clustering this garden around the sign, the existing sign, also so that it's not blocking traffic patterns for incoming and outgoing traffic. And also planting this little garden here, but next to the entrance.
If you could zoom in on that, if you could zoom in on that area that you're just talking about with that planting area, can you?
At the building or at the side, at Columbia?
At the building.
At the building, yeah, sorry, at the building, thank you. Can you zoom in a little bit more? Yeah, we go, yeah.
Oh, sorry, there must be a delay.
Yeah. So there are three, we cannot read the designation, the listing for those three rectangles that are right up against the building.
Trash and recycling.
Okay,
Trash and recycling.
okay,
Existing natural gas well here.
okay.
Buried grease trap with access door.
I
here.
see, okay. So, one concept might be, it looks like maybe you have a dimension line, across that, where you were just pointing, Mac, at the top of the recycling, yes, what is that? What's that say?
That is just denoting the distance of 10'4".
Okay,
Between the property line and the building,
right.
and then it goes to 6.
Okay, one thing you might think about is where that line is that says 10 foot. Whatever, that might want to be a fenced and gate area. That might be positioned to the side elevation of the main building, because that side elevation of the main building is really dramatic with its steep roof. And that's an important signature of that building, the three-dimensional aspects of this building, to see that side elevation. If that fence and gated area there would visually protect the dumpster or all of your recycling stuff, but would lend a kind of residential rear gate, yard gate, if you will, side yard gate, to enclose all the rest of that stuff, I think that would help feature the building and visually protect all of the other stuff.
Sure, we can look into a fence study for that. My only concern is that or not concern, but wonder is because of, right, like you said, the really dramatic steep pitch, I would sort of want the fence to fall on the downslope of that roof so that you get to see the entire sort of pitch.
I agree 100%. Can you look at the side elevation? Can you show us the side elevation?
Can we stay on this for just a second? Because I also just want to point out that the way that this plot and this building is angled, there is a 7-foot hedge that basically starts here and goes towards the park. And so you've got to be in the St. Charles parking lot in order to see what we're looking at.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the angle of the building, that blocks this vantage point from Columbia. So if you could go to the page that shows street views.
Page 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Matt, who owns the hedge?
I would imagine, well, that might be on St. Charles. That's on St. Charles' property.
St. Charles.
That is, if you're looking at our building, it's to the right.
See, this is the view that we're talking about, this view.
Exactly.
Oops, sorry.
And I used my phone and took that photograph over the hedge.
Yeah.
So So here's all that you're saying, but wanted to make sure we understood
Yeah,
the vantage point.
well, I think that in these photographs, what we see is the sharp gable end on the left-hand side of this building. On the upper right-hand corner, that sharp gable end that's on the right-hand view. Yeah. Well, yes. Sorry. If you would point to the left garage bay on that sharp gable end that's there
Yes,
is identical to the sharp gable end that's on the right-hand side that we're talking about.
but perpendicular.
But
rotated.
And so if this fence visual protection area were at the rear of that gable end, then architecturally, we're gonna see that whole thing.
Yeah,
And part of that landscaping that you were talking about that would be potentially at that corner, at that joint and so forth. I think that would be a much stronger visual solution than leaving all of the recycling stuff exposed and this new addition
yes, that makes total
an
sense.
element to be confused with the original design. It's a great concept, it's a great plan, and this is, this is just a minor point compared to the entirety. But thank you very much. I mean, it's a great concept and good on you.
I agree with that. This is gonna be a fantastic addition to Hudson.
We're very excited about it, yes. And
For good. It's gonna be a wonderful thing for the city.
And it's a wonderful marriage with the little Deb's brand.
It
I think
is.
it's really sweet.
It was very easy. It was very easy to do. It's a concept. Essentially from, blue is one of Halo's favorite colors, like the Yves Klein blue, and like couldn't ask for a better place to start, like a pure oil service station without a blue roof to start with.
Where are you guys now in approvals and such, or?
In the planning.
Yeah.
So, we're really in the, I guess, front half of the process.
Okay.
In the sense that we presented at the 214 planning board meeting, so we have follow-ups for the meeting that happens next week with regards to parking and sound. And then it's my understanding that we would then hopefully then go into the public hearing sector, and unless they have other questions.
With planning, so that process is underway.
It is underway,
And you have a schedule going forward.
yes.
Okay.
yes. We've
We're on-
presented twice to planning, and this is our public, on Monday, on Tuesday, on the 14th. It's the public review.
What are you looking for from us?
Well, I guess we're looking forward, or looking for, approval for all of the changes that we would like to make to the facade, approval for color.
We are quite likely to approve color. We rarely interfere with that.
Great. And so we have the addition, and we have all of the doors and windows that would be amended in some way, maybe.
Was that,
The only,
what's submitted, did it include, so the door specifications, the size that you're going to build or create and or salvage, with the size of the window, what material?
so great, so I feel like that is follow-up for us then.
Yes.
Like, if you need specifications, drawings are going to like.
So we had this conversation before. I mean,
Yeah.
we need to know exactly what's going on, as specifically as you can make it with the exterior. We don't need to deal with the interior, particularly unless there's an interaction we need to understand, and you need us to understand. The stuff that you all were talking about with Chip, if that's going to be incorporated or not incorporated, it would be good to know that, and it would be good to have three-dimensional
Sure.
visuals to understand a little more about the perspective. But I think you did a really good job explaining from a flat plan.
Okay, great. Maybe
The goal would be to get our process going. I think it would be better if we filled in some of the missing bits and specifications. That has to be shared with code enforcement. When Craig has the materials, he confirms fire and egress and all his building code stuff. He will contact me and I'll put you on the agenda for approval.
So just real quick, I was making a list, the type of cedar shake, what design, if it's a shake or some other kind of shingle. The doors, the windows, if you are replacing the glass, specify whether it's a clear glass or a colored glass or, something that's see-through. Gutters, storm gutters, what material, where will they be located?
Yep. I think just to sort of speak to the drawing set and what's being submitted, and this, I know this came up with Walter at the beginning of the meeting. To Walter's point as well, we don't want to hold up the process by doing an entire, interior and exterior construction set prior to HPC approval. But I think I would like to add 2 more sheets to this drawing set that is one just dedicated to windows and doors, to have a full window schedule with the sizes of the openings. And then maybe one sheet that's a bit more detailed about the addition. And that sheet could include a little 3D view and any fence details for that fence on the trash and recycling. The way that I see it is 2 additional sheets to this.
Because what we were trying to say before in the conversation with Walter and maybe it seemed like we were being stick with the problem.
The video is frozen.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, we're back.
The issue is that unless the specs that we're talking about, like you're talking about a window schedule, for example, unless we have that code enforcement can't enforce. And shockingly enough, not everybody's as transparent as you guys. And it can create problems. So I appreciate your understanding our process. The specs are important, and I think what you described as the next deliverable sounds great.
Okay, great. Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good to us. I don't know if Craig is still here, but I would like to have, there's an egress diagram and occupancy information on the drawings now. I guess I would be curious, and maybe this can be I can follow up with Craig if he's not still on this meeting, but making sure that he has the necessary information for HPC approval for code. So the understanding that it's egress, fire, any insulation requirements for the windows.
I would contact him directly on Monday or so.
Okay.
If you send him stuff to look at, Craig and I have worked together a long time. He'll look at it and get back to you. How are we going to do that?
He has these. That's why I made sure to add an egress plan to this submission that wasn't included for site plan, because it's not something that they care about. But I know that for HPC that you need to know that Craig needs to give sort of like basic sign off. And I'm not sure.
I am here. What is your question regarding the egress, I guess?
It's less about egress. I feel like, so I included an egress, I can actually check, included an egress plan in this most recent set that got submitted to you and for this meeting. What else is needed from a code perspective for HPC? I guess that's the question.
Nothing really for HPC. The egress plan that's set forth is obviously your, for historic part is your exterior doors, things of that nature. Right now, we're in the middle of reviewing the interior stuff that you've submitted.
Okay,
Which is, you know, it's more so when you get to ready for permit purposes.
right.
We'll have to look at all that, your occupancy load based on your distance travel for egress, whether sprinkler systems are required, things of that nature. I don't
Because
think
that's all
any of
included.
that would be required here for historic. Historic is basically the exterior of the building, such as your windows. I haven't looked at them yet, but I didn't see anything that would change or not be allowable based on your historic review.
Okay.
Excuse me, guys, I want to, if you all forgive me and we can, agree that we're in a good place to go on to the next application. We have another, significant project to try to get done. You've done a fantastic job. I mean, the trajectory is right.
Okay.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we will add these two sheets and send them to you just as soon as they are complete. And then, or do we wait until next month's meeting?
Whenever you wish, it matter when, we're not gonna lose them. You can do myself and get out to the commission. Okay, who's here from 326 Union Street?
I think it's Matthew. Yeah, Matthew?
Bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, you went back out.
Oh, it blipped.
Yeah.
Matthew? Michael, if you're on, could you unmute everyone? I'm gonna have to leave it right at 15:20. Okay. Oh, looks like everyone's unmuted now. Is everyone? Oh, no.
Folks have the ability to unmute themselves. I cannot physically unmute anyone.
Right, that's what I thought, but Matthew and or Tom, are you here for 326?
Matthew and Tom are here for 402 Warren, which isn't on the agenda, so we may not be discussing it today. It's up to you guys.
Nobody's here for 326 Union Street.
Yes, no one's here for 326. Okay. No show.
Okay, all right. Walter, what do you have on 402? I didn't put it on because I wasn't, it doesn't matter why I didn't do it. What do you got?
Oh, good. I've just unmuted. May I share my screen? Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Just give me 1 second, sorry. There, do you see that? Is it there?
No.
No, but there might be a
Try it
delay.
again. How about now?
No.
There seems to be a lag.
All right, I'm gonna
Michael,
just
have
wait a
you-
second, maybe to see if it shows up, because it says I'm sharing and I stopped.
It was there for a minute. Well, a minute.
It says I'm sharing.
Exactly. That's 50 times.
Okay, just
You were.
give it a second. Here it is.
Great. Okay, thank you all. So let me just go back very quickly to the beginning of these drawings. There. So very quickly, the last meeting, I think things went well and everybody agreed to things, but we were asked to specify various details and also make some things explicit on these drawings. So the first drawing simply explains the materials that we discussed last time. White paint or stucco on brick for the cornice. The existing brick will be, repaired and repointed. We would do a honed finish granite on the historic arcade portion and a flame finish, which is a more, for lack of a better word, kind of rough, flaky, textured finish on the addition. Also on the additional, both additions, we do slurry washed brick on the street. And then we have the corrugated metal. And I know everybody probably has seen this, so I'll go through quickly. Same thing on this side, just the materials, calling out the various stones that we're proposing using. Okay, and this is an important drawing, but it establishes the idea that we're going to go for a granite arcade that will show at least 12 inches of depth down the facades of all of the arcades. So this would be taken as a typical detail for any of the three arcades, the existing building, which is shown here, the new addition, and also the hotel addition. And these, we were asked to do sections. So these are sections just showing spatially where the plane of glass would be, where the granite would be, and so forth in the planes. And then we were asked to provide details for the stairs, which are here. And again, if you all want to take time to review these, I don't expect you to approve them today. And then we were asked to do corrugated details. And the only thing I could think of is, the corrugated metal, you just have to do a corner detail. So this is kind of the typical standard detail, just a metal fastened outside or inside metal corner to cover all situations. And I believe that's it. So that, I hope, covers all of the questions that we were asked to respond to at the last meeting.
It does.
Yeah.
Well, I but I think what we talked about at the last meeting is that we need all of the details for everything, not just the list.
Free volunteer.
Yeah, I understand, but is Walter, are you presenting this for approval in concept of the exterior or approval?
No,
Final.
I thought we had that. I'm sorry if I've again misunderstood. I thought we were asked to come back with the materials and details sufficient for you to evaluate the design intent. I'm happy to give you what else you need.
Or we're talking about specking out what you just described and getting that to us, and then we can review it the next meeting. We did give him, we said this is a great concept.
I got that, but what we also asked for last time is for the detailing of all of the exterior elements, not just, we listed some that we were very interested in, but we didn't list. But we don't have detailing we don't have in the site surfaces coming off of the park, off of the alley. We don't know what that material is.
No, I agree. He was demonstrating, I think, in all fairness to Walter, and I don't want to shame myself. He was trying to be responsive and show that he had responded affirmatively to what we were asking him to look at. I agree, we need another meeting.
Yeah, okay. Then thank you for that. That's that was the clarification exactly that I was looking for. Walter, you're mentioning the use of granite for the arcade, but isn't it marble?
Well, I am not a stone person, and I thought it was marble originally. And then I went back and looked and I thought it was granite. So I'm going to just say that if it's not granite, then it should match whatever is there. So let's establish what it is. It's painted,
Yeah.
now, so it's extremely hard to tell.
Oh, it is painted.
Yeah, it has, like a beautiful kind of old attorney's sign that was hand painted with white and black paint 100 years ago. So, I guess we'll just have to take a little chip off somewhere it won't show and be able to look at the inside of it.
My guess is that it would- and because I believe that the stone that was used in the storefront at the corner of Third and Warren Street, which has been discussed as a kind of traditional or a historical model for this storefront, I think that was marble, white marble, not granite.
So we'll know for the next meeting.
Okay.
And then I think, Walter, you've submitted a number of times, and each time, we're getting new packets. It might be helpful just so we have one complete set of what the final was on all facets of the building.
Yes.
You made lots of changes and lots of presentations, and so let's just have one final set so that it can be approved and everyone is clear on what the final set is.
Totally agree with that. And again, I apologize if I misunderstood the process. When we have a meeting like this and someone says it's granite, or it's marble, not granite, then we would change it based on trying to figure out whether it is granite or marble. And then, hopefully at the end of the process, we have everything, but I totally understand what you're saying.
What?
There's not, there's 40.
I think we're good.
Not.
Whoever's taking.
You actually make it confusing. We should.
John, gone.
I think it might be Matthew.
I'll see if that's gonna help.
Matthew,
we
you're
can't-
speaking.
Oh, he muted. No.
Oh, he wasn't intending to speak.
I guess not. No.
No.
Okay.
No, it was just broken up a bit.
Go ahead. Did you want to say something?
No, it was just broken up there for a few seconds. We'll find out we'll try to figure out what the stone material is. But I from visual inspection, it does look like granite.
What is there and it is what it is. We'll find out. Thank you.
We have one, and
Yes, I see that part.
Shall I stop sharing?
Builder. I don't think it was us.
It's not, it's because all the departments are here using the internet right now.
Yeah, it's fire department.
I want to talk to the
Hazel, you're also here too.
Yeah, that's the problem, that's it.
Ronald, would you like to, is your hand raised?
Yes, it is actually, and Matt, if you would like to speak.
Yes, I think if you double check, it probably is marble, although I agree with others that it's confusing. I know that the little trim piece on the very top is marble, I'm sure of that. And I'm not sure about the stone over the doorway. It looks like it could be marble. When you look at the lower part down where some of it is the covering that has been put over it is flaked off. It may just be textured in such a way to hold the surfacing they put on, to cause it to seem like granite. But I suspect it really is marble. And,
Well, they're gonna do a check. And then
and
get back
just to
to us.
offer another example of a similar front, although different, 701 Union Street has marble piers and it's all marbles and nothing's happened to the surface. So it's fully exposed. And but I would lean toward it being marble, but if you can check it, that would be good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. James, anyone else?
That's it.
It would be, my inclination to ask for a motion to adjourn.
Miranda, seconded by you.
Thank you all very much. The,
All in favor?
hopefully the city can crank up the, next time. So sorry about that. Take care, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.